back, and we have this globe. This globe is not the it's not the best, but well, it's a curved surface and all that. We understand that, but we're going to try to do what we can with what we got. Now, this is a early deal. This is you can see China here. Now, we were talking before the day. This right here is a quick shot before the days of the pyramids and before the days of the pharaohs, or early or that early era, before Greece and Rome and all that. So they are putting up the pyramids. They are thinking about putting up the pyramids. Some of the first pyramids, not the large pyramids of Giza, but the small pyramids. And this is the first of the structured civilizations. And we're in an area called, well, we'll move down to Mesopotamia later on, but we're going to start in China because we're trying to follow the water chutes. So we start here in China. Along the Yangtze River starts here, and this is China, and we start with the silk, something we call the Silk Trail, the Silk Trade, porcelain, silk, and fine metals, bronze, is coming on camelbacks from China down through India. Now, I don't know if you can get a little good shot of India down here, down through India, on over to Iraq. And into this area here, the fertile crescent. It's down up in here, off these rivers, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Baghdad, on into Turkey. The silk trails moved, the camels moved, and moved all into this early, this general Mediterranean area. We see Egypt here, and we see this Jordan, and we see this area in here. And so the goods is coming from China into this area, into the Mediterranean area, because that's where the money is, especially this Mesopotamia area here, before the pyramids. And how do we know that? We can study the Bible as a historical document, not necessarily as a get this, yeah, okay. Not necessarily as a religious document, but as a historical document. And we can see that the women are wearing silk garbs, little thin silk garbs. And we see the houses adorned with porcelain, so we know that there's a heavy Chinese, East Asian influence coming down this way. So we can see that influence coming down this way. And all the yellow is Asia, coming into this Mesopotamia area, coming along here, the sea coming along here, and winding up early on in this general area, and so with the silk and the porcelain comes books. Now, I'm just slowly getting into the book trade, but books in pre-classical history, that's before the Roman Empire. Books and written material was critical, because when to farm, where to farm, how to make this, how to make that, where you guys get this from and that and all those things. A lot of stuff had to be written down, especially from the hierarchy. Now the little guy, of course, he learned from his father. You know, he's a carpenter, he learned from his father and all this stuff. But on a higher level, on the government level, things need to be written down, laws, who owned this house, who owned that house, who owned this property, how to transfer property, money. They needed books, and how to work government and law and order and all these things, and a lot of religious stuff had to be written down. And they started on clay pots, clay block pallets, clay bricks, clay tablets. That's what was available, scratched on clay tablets, and moved on to papyrus as civilization moved up, moved on to papyrus, and moved on up into paper. So what do we got here? Now we're gonna try to move the camera here and move the globe here a little bit and see what's going on. So as time go on, we move up here into the Mediterranean, and we move along this African coast. Because a lot of this was we dealing with because a lot of this we dealing with Muslims in Muslim countries, and the Chinese this is fledgling Muslim. I don't think the Quran had been written at that time, but somewhere in that area it's being written. The Bible hadn't been written. It's being written. The Jewish culture is trying to keep their culture together, and they got the Bible with a lot of historical material in it. And we are pulling some of the historical material out of these early books as to what's going on. So we did have the written word prior to the building of the Egyptian era, hieroglyphics. And in these books, basic science, medicine, how to cure this, agriculture, the best way to grow this, when to grow it, how to fertilizers and all this, what we call practical science, basic practical science. You know, astronomy and astrology is great, but it's not basic practical science. Whether the world is round or square, the guy trying to grow some food, but basic practical science. And so science and religion and history is moving along the Silk Trails from China into India, across Turkey, into the Mediterranean. And because most of the people live in this area, Muslim, the early Christian religions hadn't been developed at that time. Jesus Christ hadn't even been born. It was easy to move. The languages, the higher languages were similar, or at least the religions were similar, so we were able to understand each other to some degree. I mean, you had fighting and all that, but to some degree, it's easier and easier to move materials along the Silk Trails, knowledge along the Silk Trails, religion and the history associated with that, and the science associated